Some very gracious, generous people that are sitting in the room tonight. What a lot of you don't know is, the people that are sitting at your tables and the people who are around you and among you give to us throughout the year. They give to us online. They help with tonight's event. You will see them helping at the screenings that we do. It's just a room filled with generosity. So know that when you do applaud throughout the evening, you're actually applauding one another. So thanks again. So I just want to talk for a few minutes about the namesake of Gable Heartbeats Foundation. So almost 10 years ago now, we lost our dear friend and brother, Michael Gable. And it's amazing that he left us. He was only 38 years old. And in such a short amount of time, he really brightened so many lives, including most of us in this room. So if you knew him, you'd know that he would walk in this room and light up the room. He was that type of spirit. I had the privilege and honor of knowing Michael very well. We met at St. Mary's College. I introduced myself, hey, Michael, I'm Ralph, and he said, hey man, just call me G Money. So that's how I met Michael. He was that type of guy, and we were very close throughout college, and we grew even closer after college. We worked at two different companies together. We worked at UPS, and we worked at Vertical Networks. And our boss at Vertical Networks used to take us to dinner every holiday, the two of us and a few people that we used to work with. And that dinner became an annual tradition. In fact, we have, I think it's the 20th dinner coming up in just a couple months. So that was really special to be able to work with Michael at UPS and Vertical Networks. I also had the honor and privilege of playing music with Michael. He was a fabulous songwriter and a great lead vocalist. He was in my band Segway with our friend and brother Stephen Mayo, who's here, and Bill Taylor, who's here.
Segway!
We released 3 records. We played hundreds of live performances together, and again, would light up that room as often as we could. I was able to stand beside Michael when he married Michelle. It was an incredible honor to watch that and witness it. It was also incredible to be at the hospital when Mateo was born and when Grace was born, who are right here at this table. There's really no deeper honor than to be the godfather of Grace. So Gracie, I love you. And when we lost Michael, to say the least, we were all devastated. And we could have sat there and relished in the memories, some of which I just shared with you. But instead, we decided to take action, and we decided to mobilize, and we decided to take that enthusiasm and that spirit that we modeled from Michael to create the Gable Heartbeats Foundation. And it is a true testament to his spirit. And what warms my heart is that you're all part of it. So thank you all for your contributions and your generosity and for your enthusiasm and your spirit, because you're modeling what Michael illustrated on a regular basis. And so with that, I do want to introduce Michael's wife, Michelle, to come on up and say a few words.
Thank you for that, Ralph. That was awesome. I first just want to thank all of you guys for being here tonight. Like Ralph said, it's our 7th annual, and I always look forward to tonight because it brings all of us together, and we're here to celebrate what we've all done together and how far our organization has come. So thank you all for being here. And I know there's a lot of first-timers here, which is so awesome to see. And I want to first start by just giving a little bit of background of our story in Gable Heartbeats and how we came to be. As Ralph mentioned, in September of 2009, so just a little over 9 years ago, Michael passed away very suddenly from what we know now was hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. there was no signs ahead of time to let us know that there was something seriously wrong with his heart. And with genetic testing, we found the gene that caused Michael's condition. And then we took action and got our family tested. Grace tested positive for the gene. Beverly, his mom, tested positive for the gene. His sister tested positive for the gene. So now that we know this information, they're all being followed by a cardiologist. Sorry, I lost my place here. So the way the gene manifests itself in each person is very different. But now that we know this, and they're going to be followed, we have a way to where something tragic doesn't happen to them. With information comes power, and power is to do something about it. And this is where Gable Heartbeats steps in and plays a pertinent role in supplying individuals information about their heart health, so that they can also take action if we find something wrong. If Michael had, and we do an echocardiogram and EKG at all of our screenings, everyone gets each. If Michael would have had the echocardiogram done and not just an EKG, I feel strongly that he'd be with us today, because it would have shown that his heart was enlarged and something wrong with it. In the true spirit of Michael, as Ralph mentioned, we don't give up. And Amy Mayo came up with the idea of starting Gable Heartbeats, which got off the ground in 2010. We all know that Michael would want for us to do something with information we were learning about cardiomyopathy and put it into action, and that's what we've been doing. Gable Heartbeats' mission is very simple, and it's to try and save lives. To try and save lives by screening kids' hearts and putting in AEDs into schools and gyms and parks where they're needed. We've screened hundreds of kids throughout Gable Heartbeats as an organization, and we've caught several people who have had life-threatening conditions. So we're really proud of that. Gable Heartbeats does great work, but is also very, it goes very personal for me. And it goes beyond kind of the work we do. It's given my kids a huge gift of carrying on their dad's legacy. So many stories get told about their dad to them, who he was, what he stood for, what he loved to do, how hardworking and ambitious he was, very passionate. And sometimes I feel like we're put in settings and in places, and I used to think it was by coincidence, and it's no coincidence sometimes when things happen. And for example, I took the kids up to St. Mary's College to go see a soccer game. The men were vying for a position to get into the Final Four for the NCAA tournament. So I take the kids up there, and the stadiums get packed, and we take our seats, and 5 rows down, there's these hecklers, and they're really loud. And I turn to the kids, I start packing up our stuff. I said, let's go move to the other side of the stadium. And by the time I looked around, we couldn't move. I'm like, we're gonna stick it out. And I'm so glad we did, because not but 5 minutes later, I hear this, Michelle, and I look up, and it's a guy who played soccer with Michael. And he turned to my kids, and he introduced himself and talks about Michael. And then 2, 3, 4 other players happened to come up to our section in our row, met Michael's kids, played with Michael. And then the kicker was when I see this man coming up, and it's Michael's former coach from St. Mary's College, Bob Martin. And he lives in Utah, so it was amazing that we saw him. And he came up and he's like, Michelle, but wow, these are Michael's kids? That's Bob. And he's like, step aside, I gotta sit next to these guys. And he starts telling them stories about Michael, how he went up to Washington and recruited Michael, how he was the first Olympic development player, that he got to come to St. Mary's. He told him a story about how they took some of the soccer team up to Tahoe, and they get to the top of the hill. Doesn't realize Michael has never skied before. And if you knew Michael, he had flat feet and he walked like a duck, right? So he's like, you gotta snowplow. And he's like, I can't, because he couldn't get his feet inward. Couldn't turn his ankles. And the kids are just rolling. I mean, Bob, if you knew Bob, he's just a great guy. So that was just an amazing gift to us. I mean, St. Mary's lost that day, but it was a big win for my kids. For them to meet and hear about their dad and meet these players, and it was just fantastic. Through all these stories and you guys being here tonight, supporters of Gable Heartbeats, it continues not only to give my family this gift, but it gives a gift to our communities. It gives a gift to all of those whose lives we've saved and that are safer for our efforts. So with that said, I'd like you all to raise your glasses. And I first just want to say a very heartfelt thank you for the support for our family through the years, the support of Gable Heartbeats. And this cheers is to all of us here making a huge difference. Thank you.
Here.
I'd now like to introduce my wonderful son, who I love very much and who I know I'm so proud of. I know his dad's looking down on him and so proud of him. My son, Mateo Gable. I was going to have him stand on stage, but he's taller than me. So.
Hey everyone, my name is Mateo Gable. Thanks all for coming. I first want to start off. Who likes to be a champion out there? Anyone?
Yes!
Yeah.
Winner.
When I think of the word champion, I think of the Golden State Warriors winning the NBA championship 3 times. Or Steph Curry representing the Breakfast of Champions. But then, I also remember the story of my mom, dad, aunties, uncles, and friends winning the intramural softball championship at St. Mary's College. But when it comes to Gable Heartbeats, you are all my champions. Your support allows us to screen kids and place AEDs in communities. On November 3rd, 2018, we partnered with CCOP, CYO, and Pleasanton Raised Soccer Club to screen 169 kids and 22 adults. Of those screened, 8 people were found with numbers outside of normal limits, 4 of which had a serious and potentially life-threatening condition. It made me feel good that we might have saved a life that day. On February 1st, 2019, just last week, we partnered with St. Ignatius High School in San Francisco, where we screened 225 high school students and staff. The athletic director was thrilled to have us back for our 4th year to screen as athletes and students. We are still waiting for the results for the screening, but last year we found 3 individuals outside of normal limits.
Nice.
This past summer, Gable Heartbeats put together a concert to play at North Star. At the concert, we presented an AED to Truckee High School. It was a great event where my Uncle Stefan and Uncle Ralph got to jam to some of the dad that my music wrote. Gable Heartbeats also donated AEDs to 3 other schools in the Bay Area. Walnut Grove Elementary and Village High School in Pleasanton and De La Salle Academy in Concord were all recipients of an AED. All these schools are safer now, and they're prepared in case of an emergency. It's been a great year. We screened 416 hearts and placed 4 AEDs within communities. Gable Heartbeats potentially saved 4 people's lives, detecting serious heart issues, all made possible with your help. It means a lot to me that you're all here and carrying on my dad's legacy. I know my dad would want us to help people and try and save lives. And that's exactly what Gable Heartbeats has been doing this year. I'd like to leave you with this quote. Winning doesn't always define the word champion. You can be a true champion by saving someone's life. So let's have another great year and keep the beat going. Thank you. And now, I'd like to introduce, you know her, you love her, the one and only, Grace Gable!
Hello everyone, nice to see you all tonight. Hope you're all having a very special night as we celebrate 7 years of Gable Heartbeats saving lives. As many of you know, I was admitted to the hospital 2 weeks after my dad passed away and was later diagnosed with dilated cardiomyopathy at 11 months old. I spent almost a month in the hospital getting treatment to get my heart working better. I was released from the hospital with my heart working at 50%. I had to visit the cardiologist once a month for an EKG and echocardiogram. After each appointment for 9 months, there was little change. But in August 2010, the results were very different. My doctor was thrilled. Dr. Avasalara came into the room and said, "Grace, you made my day." My heart function went from 50% to 85% all in 1 month. My mom said it was a true miracle. Nine years have passed and I'm still standing. I have been doing soccer, basketball, and theater. When we were in soccer season, my wonderful mom, my 2 other coaches, took the whole team to St. Mary's College where my mom and my dad used to attend school and play soccer. We got to hold hands with 1 player on the team and run on the field. Then we lined up to do the national anthem. At halftime, we got to play a game on the field. It was awesome to play on the field my mom and my dad once played. Who knows, maybe I'll play at St. Mary's one day. I just had my 6-month checkup in November and it was great news. My heart functions remain stable and is just shy of normal. I know my dad is looking over me. My dad is my hero. He saved my life. He was a loving person and he would want us to continue to save lives. With your donations to Gable Heartbeats, you are all heroes to thousands of kids. Thank you all for coming and helping us save lives one heart at a time. Have a wonderful night.
About another round of applause for Michelle, Mateo, and Grace.